Hello, and welcome to my 1000 subscriber special. This is a project I've been working on for a very long time, which I'm super excited to be able to share with you today, called Account Snapshot. And we'll get to why that is in a little bit. First, I want to give a special thanks to everyone for all of the support. It really means a lot. I have met so many cool people, and it's just awesome to be able to interact with you guys, so thank you. If we navigate over to my Discord server, you can see I have some instructions, an example, as well as a channel for any suggestions and maybe if you need any help. In this channel, you can find my friend code, which you will add me as a friend, and after that, I'll dump your profile and send it to you via direct messages on Discord. Once you get that file from me, you can head on over to the website. Once you input your JSON file using the select, you can see that a Go button will appear. And let's go! So, this is your account snapshot. You can see that this one was taken on November 3rd, 2021 at 1:12 in the morning. So any timings that you see in this snapshot will be your local time, not necessarily my time zone. You can see that it's captured as much information as it possibly could. So we have the basic stuff such as your name, your tier rankings, your tour total points, even your favorite drivers. And we also can see the entirety of your driver list, your cart list, your glider list, your badge list, as well as your item list. So any amount of items that you would have had are here. So if we take a look specifically at driver list, you can see that there are a few different ways that it can be sorted. So the default one is by date received, and this is descending. So any of the first items that you received will be first. So you can see that this account received Toad and Bowser as their first two drivers from the tutorial, and then after that their Koopa Troopa was their very first driver that was not from the tutorial. So you can also sort in ascending, which means the last items that you've received would be first. And you can also do the in-game sorting, which means it's probably in order that you're a little more familiar with from the game. So you can see that here. Now, if we move on to the badge list, it's sorted by default in the in-game sort because that probably makes the most sense. You can see that all of the badges here, you can see specific information about each one, such as how many times each one was received and exactly when it was first received. So here we can sort them in the in-game sorting. You can sort them in the date received, in descending, which means the badges you got first will be first, and then also ascending, which means the badges received last will be first. So you can see there's a lot of today's challenge badges here. There's some expert challenges. There's the second anniversary, that kind of thing. So in the item list, you can just see exactly how many that you had at the time, what they are. But let's move on. So your tour most used drivers are actually stored in your profile. So you can see that this account used Pink Gold Peach, Kamek, and Luigi Classic the most out of the tour. In the records section, you can see a lot of different records that you would normally see on your profile, except some of them are in a little bit more detail. So you can see here that the multiplayer XP is 11,000, which essentially means that your current multiplayer rank is S+6. Lower amounts of that would mean that you're in the middle somewhere from some ranking. And then you can also see your user rank XP, which does go past 150, even though your user rank cap is at 150 at the current moment in time. So furthermore, using all of the data collected, I can also make a lot of fun calculations about your account. So before I continue, I also just want to clarify that a copy means, copies mean the total amount of an item. So a level 3 Pauline means you've received her 3 times, and so she has 3 copies of her. By using the pipe frame and the Super Glider's received date, I can actually tell the creation date of your account, and so I've also recorded that here in the extended records. I've recorded your total unique drivers, carts, and gliders, so that's just adding up the amount of drivers, carts, and gliders that you have, essentially. Total driver, cart, and glider copies is essentially how many times you've received a driver, cart, and glider ever. There's also ones that are a little bit more specific, such as total unique high-ends and total high-end copies ever received. And then also driver copies, cart copies, glider copies. And now there's also total gained base points. So that is essentially adding up. So let's pretend that you have a driver, a normal driver, that starts at 400 points. And you level them up and you get them to 600 points. What this total adds is the 200 without including the original 400 that was already there. So this is the amount of base points that are gained. So you can see that there are a lot more for the drivers, and this is because they have double the amount of points, which makes sense. Moving on, you can see that the tutorial drivers are also pretty easy to figure out. These are going to always be the first 2 drivers that you've received. These are the first 12 drivers, carts, and gliders that were received, and then also the first 12 high-ends. So that might be interesting to look back at and see, oh wow, these were my first 12 high-ends. Now, if you're somebody who has played since the launch day, you'll probably have a familiar set of items there. This being the shop high-ends, because those were some of the only high-ends available at the time. Moving on, your most neglected carts. So, every item also has a last used date. And so because of this, I can tell which items were actually the last used. So it looks like this account has only used the pink marshmallow almost an entire year ago, and the barrel train falling shortly behind was almost 9 months ago. This will be the same for the gliders. You can probably imagine a lot of Hanafudas will be there if you have been playing for that long. Up next is the total used cap tickets, and this is calculated by looking at all of your drivers, carts, and gliders and essentially seeing the level of uncapped that they are, and you can calculate the amount of tickets based on that. So this will help you see exactly how many cap tickets you've ever really had. Following that is the most obtained badges. So I mentioned earlier that badges actually store how many times you've collected them. It seems like the most common badge in the entire game is the red shell badge, and that has been in Mario Kart Tour 37 times. But you can see the top 10 of those. The next sections are sort of just for your recollection. You can see specifically your Team Rally badges, your Expert Challenge badges, your Today's Challenge badges, and your All Cup ranking badges. Following that are some categories based on your items and any achievements you might have made with those. So the first one is anything that is completely maxed. This means that it is level 7 and it is triple capped. You can see all of these items are that way. Items that are triple uncapped but have not reached their full base points will still show up in this list because that is still counting as completely maxed. In that sense, it's just not all the base points are obtained. So then we have triple capped drivers, carts, and gliders. So this is just essentially the last one, except now anything that is triple capped will be here, not necessarily level 7 and triple capped. So you can see the Gold Sweeper was not in the last list because it is only level 6, but now it's here. Next is your double capped drivers, carts, and gliders. And then finally, all of your level 7 drivers, carts, and gliders. This list will get pretty long if you've been playing the game for a long time and spend a lot of money, so it should be interesting to see just how long it really is. Now the next part is something that is a little bit of a reach because there have been different coin amounts in the daily selects. There used to be more expensive groups of items, but now that has changed to be the same as every other item of their rarity. So this won't exactly be completely accurate, but it's a good idea of a sort of measure if everything was put to a standard. So you can see all of the items here are based on their shop prices. The cap tickets are also based on the tier shop prices, and everything else will be calculated accordingly. So even your coins that you currently have, and as well as any used cap tickets, will be converted as well. So with that, we can see that this account has a coin worth of 26,007,400 coins. And that is a lot of coins, let's be real. So I did something similar for rubies as well, except this one is a little bit simpler. So let's just take every single copy of every item that you have. So let's say all 40 or something copies of Morton that you have in order to get him to level 6 and some progress. So when you have all 40 of those, that is essentially let's multiply 5 by every single one of those copies, because that could have been the way that you got all of those items. So if we were to do that, because that's trying to set like a sort of standard for if all of your items, the amount of items you have, were multiplied in the sort of way that if we took 45 away from it until we were left with a number less than 45, that would mean that the account ruby worth for this account is 21,855 rubies. That's a lot of rubies. And that's all for everything I've implemented so far. If I were to ever add anything new, such as maybe courses that you're missing, drivers, carts, and gliders, I would add it and you would just use the same file that was given to you and you would just load the site again. As one last little surprise, I have also made a true snapshot version and it works exactly as the game. So let's go over to here. So you can see that this account, it is formatted exactly as it would be in the game. Any stats are strictly what would be inside of the game if you were to open your profile. So the driver list, cart list looks exactly as it would inside of the game. Just take a little tour of that. There we go. The badge list also works, and you can scroll through that and see, maybe in a little bit easier of a form than the other way, which has all of the details. And lastly, the tour records. In tour records, instead of just recording the ranked courses, this actually records every single course of the entire tour, exactly how it is when the snapshot is taken. I've designed the site to work extremely well with mobile, so you can imagine that some things such as the driver list and cart list and glider list, as well as the badge list, might look a little bit better on mobile, but they are still readable on desktop. Now, there's also one other interesting thing about the game version that I forgot to mention, and this is the fact that any links that you might navigate to do work. So this snapshot was taken during the holiday tour, so it will take you to the All Cup ranking page for the holiday tour, which is now past, but the past tour stats button also works. You can see here that this alt of mine had used my signature combo, and obviously it never left tier 1 because the ranked cup is not unlocked, and I have never visited multiplayer. So, with all of that said, I really hope that the information from your account is really interesting to look at here. Thank you so much for everyone who helped me sort of pilot this and get some feedback before actually releasing it to the public. It's been super fun getting to work with everyone, and I'll see you all soon.